Zach.
And I'm Jeremy, we are Sparka Youth.
So this week we're going to be continuing our series based off of Joel Holmes' Fall of 52. And before we get into this week's lesson, we're going to take a look at last week's challenge. Last week's challenge was to act on what you are trusting Jesus for, believing that you have received it. So Jeremy, how'd you complete your challenge?
Well, for my challenge, what happened was I acted like Jesus was one to provide me to stop me from doing temptations, such as trying to watch YouTube videos while trying to do homework. So then after a while, I just noticed that Jesus just came to me. He was just like, don't watch YouTube videos. Like, I just heard a voice in my head. And then sometimes it's just really nice to hear that.
Nice. Well, for me, I was feeling pretty tired recently in the week, so I decided that I prayed to let Jesus be able to give me more time to be able to sleep and recover. So believing that He would provide for me, I just did my hardest to work on any of the homework or projects that I had to do and believe that I wouldn't have too much of a load. And at the end it worked out and it was great. This week's lesson is do not let your hearts be troubled, and it comes from John 14:1.
Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. Jesus knows that troubled hearts will always be a part in your life and always on earth. And this week, He directs you with the command, but He also gives you a great encouragement as well. His command is to allow the condition in your heart to be better in the future. And then that way, you do not let. And then by do not let, what it means is not to allow any negative things in your life to be able to keep being negative by having the power of Christ.
So without intentionally guarding your heart can become troubled. You have to actively be trying to guard it and protect it from outside influences. Now, this command isn't something that will get immediate gains. Of course, it's always easier to follow a command where you can instantly see the benefits, but Jesus is thinking about your future and saying that if you protect it now and guard it carefully, you'll have an easier time in the future.
If you engage in habits to protect and guard today, then in the future your heart will not be troubled. So then it's kind of nice to know that your payoff comes tomorrow.
So we also have a few additional verses to study to go with our topic. The first one comes from Hebrews 11, 39 through 40. These were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised, since God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect.
Our next additional verse is Proverbs 12:25. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up.
Next is Proverbs 17:22. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones.
Our last additional verse is Psalm 43:5. Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God, for I will yet praise Him, my Savior and my God.
So now let's take a look for the challenge for the week.
This week's action is to spend time every day to add to a list of good things God has done for you and thank Him for His goodness.
So a troubled heart often comes with despair and worry. So how do we guard against this? Well, we use praise and worship instead. So this week, as you make your list each day, think about something good that God has done for you that day and reflect on all the good things that He has done rather than worrying about the troubles that can be in life. So that's all we have for this week. Make sure you send us how you completed your challenge on Instagram at Sparka Youth, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.